Jack,
Raymond.
it's a pleasure to be in your living room again.
Thank you. My pleasure to have you here.
We've been friends for 30 years. I remember being in your home the first time 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a wonderful relationship, and it's one reason is because I respect you so much, and I know how good you are. I know that you're humble, even though you're so famous, and I know that you're transparent, and you have a lot of courage to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you're very creative, that you study a lot, that you read thousands of books in your lifetime. I've seen you make wise decisions. We're both on a board of a nonprofit. And I have seen that when you present to a group, typically my groups when I bring you in, they love you so much. You have such a deep ability to have everyone in the room fall in love with you.
Thank you.
Those are the things that I love and respect about you. And now it's your turn.
Oh, you want me to tell you what I love and respect about you?
Absolutely! You picked it right up.
So if you look up setup on Wikipedia, this is what you'll find.
This is the setup.
Okay, setup. No, I can do that. First of all, I just start with the board we're on. We're on the board of a nonprofit organization. And you always bring such loving care and concern for the welfare of the organization, the people in it. And you're impeccable in that. So I really appreciate that. You also have a command of the finances of the organization, which I don't really have and don't want to be that person. But you really delve deep into it and ask really good questions. So there's that level of expertise that you bring to it. I have watched you present numerous times. Often when I'm presenting at your events, I get to watch you teach as well. Very impressed with your ability to articulate things, your ability to have there are 21 things you need to know. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And it's all good. It's all stuff that makes sense and is presented in a logical, sequential way. I think you're a quintessential salesperson in a good way. You enroll people skillfully into something that is for their higher benefit. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if you were enrolling into something I didn't believe in, I would but that's not the case. You present really good courses, solutions, and consulting for people. I love your program for authors. How many authors do you have now that have gone? I mean, books that exist because of you.
There's about 3,000 who have purchased the program. They haven't all finished their book yet.
But how many books would you say are out there now?
Oh, over 1,000.
Over 1,000 books. So you've helped 1,000 people be able to articulate a message they have. And I've just sat here before we do this interview with about, 20 people that you've done. And every title, I went the world needs to know that. That's useful information. This is valuable. The titles are good. The content's good. The people are good. So you're helping people get useful information into the world, helping them become more credible in the world's view, and ultimately help monetize what they know. So it brings that out to the world as well. And that's huge when you think about that. The number, I mean, I've edited over 200 books, and I know you've been involved in a lot of those books, written forwards for them, helped them get people to design the covers. You have editors who work with them. So that's awesome. That part's really awesome. You are a great husband. I mean, I always tell you married yourself. I mean, your wife Karen is she's incredible. I think, Raymond got Karen, that's incredible. Not that you're not incredible, but she's so amazing, So
Bob Proctor said I overmarried.
Yeah, well, whatever, but it works. You guys have a great relationship, and I told my wife the other day that when you come home, Karen will have a sign that says, "Welcome back to the greatest." What did she say? The greatest what?
Well, it's different each time.
Oh, it's different each time. Okay. I said, honey,
I want that.
You never do that. So that's great. I think you're a very good businessman. You're tremendous. You're smart. You study smart people like Nita Cubain. You learn from the best and then you apply it. I mean, you have a director of WOW in your company, and you're constantly learning. And I think you're an adventurer. You're courageous. I mean, your polar race, that blew me away. And when you shared with me what the training was.
Yes.
I think at the end you said you ran up and down stairs in a hotel room
1,000 flights of stairs.
for like 8 hours nonstop or something, you know? It's like, God, I run for an hour, I'm done. You know? It's like, and they're not stairs. So that's really impressive. And you survived that. I mean, you did it. You talked about, when you gave your talk about it, that you were thinking, well, maybe I will give up after day 2 or 3. It's like, this sucks, basically. But you didn't.
No.
You know, you talked yourself into keep going. And I think that's got to be one of the hallmark experiences of your life. And you learn so much about yourself and about perseverance and setting goals and the importance of partnership and all the things that you learn from that. And then you gave a tremendous presentation on it at the TLC. So I think that's good. We're co-authoring a book together. We co-authored a Chicken Soup book together. Did we do 2 books or just
2?
one? 2. It was on parenting and Canadian, something like that.
Parents in Canadian, yes.
Yeah, and you shared some wonderful parenting rituals you have in your family, and so I know how much you love and care for your children. And I've met, I think, 2 of them.
Yes, you met both of my children.
Yeah, and they're delightful. So you can always tell good parenting produces great kids. So I love that, and you empowered Emma with her book. I mean, what a cool thing to do. And then what else do I love about you? Your tremendous sense of humor. We send jokes back and forth.
Yes.
And some of the best jokes I tell, I learned from you. And cartoons that you send, none of which I can use in my workshops, but they're funny. They're a little over the edge sometimes, but they're hysterical. And I think you've been a great friend. I don't know a lot about your other friends. I know Martin and you've been great friends for each other. But for me, you have always been there. Whenever I've made a request, you've said yes. And as I told the group earlier today where we're filming this, that when Chicken Soup for the Soul came out, you had promised to pre-order 1,000 books. And you bought them when they came out. And you sent them out to all of your coaching clients. And that was huge for 2 reasons. Number one, it made my publisher believe that the book was worth publishing because you had made that promise. Number 2, it helped get on the bestseller list because we sold all those books. And then when I came out with the Success Principles book, you said, if you're coming to Canada, I will literally take all of these workshops you were doing, like in Toronto and Montreal and, what's that place?
Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver.
Yeah, and then Vancouver. And it was like, I got to go and take over your groups that were yours and teach and then sell books. And you gave me hats that were red and had maple leaves on them and all kinds of stuff. It was so much fun. And what's the coffee company up there?
Starbucks?
No.
Tim Hortons.
Tim Horton. You get Tim Horton cups. And, so you've always done that for me. And then when I come to Canada to work for you, you've taken me up in the tower. We drove around in your Humvee, and stuff like that. It's been fun, Raymond.
It has.
You've been a fun guy to hang out with, and you remember my birthday. You remember my anniversary. You remember my wife's birthday. We always get cards and emails and stuff from you, and you're one of the few people that can convince my wife to give up our living room for a day, and she agreed to it. I was shocked. Because she does not like to have large groups in my house, but for Raymond, I'll do it. Because you've been a good friend to her, and she knows that. So that's what comes to mind.
Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. What would you get? The 5 love languages?
Yeah.
What would you guess his is?
Words of affirmation.
I think so. I think so.
In fact, my wife, words of affirmation is way down on the bottom. Not only does it mean nothing, she's against it. And so I had to train her to do it. And she said to me one day, "Does it ever end?" No. Mine's nurturing touch. I love all your hugs at the end. But the reality is, you never grow tired of getting touched if your love language is touch. Yes.
Patty's is gifts, which is really expensive to have that love language. But my wife's quality time. I could tell her all the great things, she doesn't care. But if I sit and listen to her and say, "Tell me more, dear," the secret to my happiness with my wife is, "Tell me more, dear." And what else happened? How did you feel when that happened? Yeah, that's called foreplay in our house.
Wow.
So are you guys meeting tonight? Or you want a group dinner?